Have you ever got a call, a text, or an email from somebody that was wanting you to come out and give them a quote for a job, but when you would try to gather more information about the person, something just didn't seem right? Either they weren't trying to give you the address, they didn't want to meet you on site, or they just wanted to have a basic price of what you would charge. That's why in this video, I'm talking about your competitors and also how they might be calling you in order to get a better understanding of your pricing structure. I'm also going to talk about some things that have happened to me in the past, what you should do if you think that this is happening to you. And if you stick around until the end of the video, I'm going to show you an email exchange that took place between me and someone that was asking for a quote, but I don't think that they want a quote. I think that it's a competitor. I was talking with a couple of friends of mine, they're contractors as well in the same space. We were talking about pricing structure. I was asking them what they thought about pricing structure and if they know what other people in their area are charging. That's when a couple of people said, if you're trying to get a better understanding of your pricing structure, all you got to do is just call 2 or 3 contractors that are in your area, give them each a property to bid, and then compare the quotes. Then that will give you a basic understanding of what your competitors are charging. I'm going to be 100% honest with you, that just didn't set well with me. I didn't like that at all. I did not like the idea of calling another company, several other companies, and wasting their time asking them to give me a quote when I never had an intent to purchase. For me, that just seems disingenuous. It's like fake Google reviews. It's like somebody that sets up a Google My Business profile listing and doesn't take time to do the work, doesn't take time to acquire customers, doesn't take time to upload pictures. They just send out the review link and get a bunch of fake reviews. That's disingenuous. And that's not something that I'm interested in doing. And I'll be honest with you, whenever I first started, it was in my first season, I got a call from somebody. They were asking me if I would be willing to give them a quote on a property. Well, it's in a smaller town in the state that I live in. This lady called me and she said, can you give me a quote for this Freightliner company that's in this small town? And I'm very familiar with the state that I live in. I'm also very familiar with the towns and the areas. I know for a fact that that's a small town with probably like 2 gas stations and a school. It doesn't have a Freightliner company in it. Well, she didn't say this was a new layout. She said it was an existing layout. She didn't want to give me an address. She didn't want to tell me how big it was. She didn't want to give me any plans. She wasn't trying to tell me anything. She just wanted me to give her a generic price and tell her how much that I charge. My first season, it really didn't make sense to me. That has happened to me in the past. It's also going to happen to me in the future. And it's just something that you have to deal with. Now, what should you do if you perceive that this situation is happening to you? Well, if you think that a competitor is calling you to try to get a better understanding of your pricing structure and how you charge, number 1, do not itemize everything on that list. Because if they know what you're charging for lines, for handicaps, for access aisles, for fire lane, for handicap symbols, stenciling, so on and so forth, if you give them the complete blueprint and break it down in an itemized fashion and it is a competitor of yours, they are going to have an advantage over you because they know what you're charging in the marketplace. Even though as shady as that sounds, it sounds super shady and super disingenuous, because once you give a full price breakdown and somebody else has that information, especially a competitor, because a lot of times these larger companies are going to get 2 or 3 bids. They have to so they can compare them. But if that person who got your original estimate in the first place knows what you charge, all they got to say is, hey, who am I competing against? And then they'll know the company. Then if they know the company, they'll know it's you and then how much you're charging. So either they can come in right below you and try to undercut you just a tad bit so they can still get the job, which is what most people do. Most people think that, oh, if I'm just a lot cheaper and I undercut other people, then I'll just get the job. And that's what drives the market price and the market value down for the services, are guys like you that are out there undercutting people just to get the job. Because if you're willing to undercut somebody, guess what? Somebody else is willing to undercut you. So never, ever, under any circumstances, itemize out your services. Number 2, to minimize this, ask them to meet you on site. When you ask them to meet you on site, then you can ask for some identification or some prying questions. You can get a better understanding of who you're dealing with. Is this a facility supervisor? Is this somebody that knows what they're talking about? Because if you're on a property that's occupied, like the property that I'm on right now, the chances of somebody trying to call you out for a bunk quote just to see what you charge, the chances of them acting like a facilities maintenance supervisor and walking you around the building with an open property is very, very minimal. Always ask to meet on site if you think that there's something shady going on. Number 3, get contact information. Find out who you're dealing with. I mean, if you're dealing with a project that's a $30,000 project, find out who you're dealing with. Look on their LinkedIn profile. Find out who they are on social media platforms. Because the last thing you want to do is send off a quote, breaking everything down, and then other people know your pricing structure. And that's going to happen, and people are going to do that to you. Those are the 3 things that I think that you should do if this is happening to you or if you think that it is. Now, I'm going to talk to you about this email exchange. I'm on a property right now, right behind me. I think that a competitor called me out to look at this property to see how much I charge. Here's why. I received this random email from this lady. It says, "We've received an email from you about our parking lot. Please let us know a time that you could come by for a quote. Thank you." Now, when this lady says this, immediately I'm alarmed and I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, let me go back and let me find out if I sent this lady an email. Because I do send off a lot of emails. I do a lot of email marketing. We also teach that in the How to Stripe course. If you guys are interested in learning how to make thousands of dollars doing copy and paste with email marketing, be sure to check out the How to Stripe course. It will be the first link in the pinned comment section and the description. Now, she said that we sent her an email. I went back through my emails, tried to locate the email, especially with this email address. Couldn't find it. Red flag number 1. That makes me think that a competitor is reaching out to me because we've never sent these people an email. Red flag number 2. I can't get a hold of them on the phone. Haven't talked to them on the phone. They just asked me to go by for a quote. I ask them then, of course, may I have the address? Of course, they give me the address right here. But then I ask them, do they want a parking lot striping quote? Red flag number 3. I want you to look and tell me what I need. Well, doesn't that just sound shady? That doesn't even sound right. I want you to look and tell me what I need. What kind of stuff is that? Well, I look on Google Maps. The property looks like it was striped last week. I just pulled up to the property just to get an in-person view. And what do you know? It's flaking a little bit, of course, due to wear and tear. But it doesn't need to be striped right now. The handicaps are backwards. There's another red flag. The property looks fine. They look at this property every single day. They know what the property looks like. Who's going to call a service provider, tell them to come give a quote, and then say, and they ask, what would you like? Pressure washing, parking lot striping, crack filling, seal coating, repairs? What would you like? I don't know. You tell me what I need. That doesn't even sound right. That just sounds like someone who's trying to enter into the marketplace wanting me to quote a bunk property. Anyways, guys, just beware and know that people do this. If you guys do this, I'm not like talking down on anybody. I'm just saying for me personally, I would not want someone to do that to me. And since I wouldn't want someone to do that to me, I don't want to do that to somebody else. In our company, I mean, I want to love my neighbor as myself, and I wouldn't want my neighbor to do that to me. And so I'm not going to do that to anybody else. But beware, because your competitors, especially the more that you grow, your competitors are going to be interested in what you charge. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out How to Stripe, and we will see you in the next video.